Welcome to the course. If you've been an Azure security engineer for any length of time, you've probably seen an email land in your inbox with the subject line, AZ-500 is retiring. Your first reaction was likely a mix of mild panic and quiet annoyance, because that certificate took you weeks of evenings and at least one weekend of muttering at the conditional access blade. Take a breath. This lesson explains exactly what's replacing it, what's new, what's the same, and why Microsoft pulled the trigger on a brand new exam code. In this lesson, you'll learn three things. First, the official name of the SC-500 exam and the credential you earn for passing it, along with the 4 exam domains and how Microsoft weights them. Second, what carried over from AZ-500 and what's brand new, including why artificial intelligence security now has its own seat at the table. Third, the quirks of taking a beta exam, what the exam format actually looks like on the day, and the hard retirement date you need to know. Let's start with the headline. The SC-500 is officially called Implementing End-to-End Security Controls for Cloud and AI Workloads. That's a mouthful, so most people will just say the SC-500, the way you used to say the AZ-500. Microsoft has retired the older code, and SC-500 is the direct successor. When you pass it, you earn the Microsoft Certified Cloud and AI Security Engineer Associate badge. Notice the name change. The old credential was called Azure Security Engineer Associate. The new one drops Azure and adds AI and Cloud, because Microsoft wants to signal that this role isn't just about Azure resources anymore. You're expected to secure Microsoft 365 Copilot, custom AI agents, multi-cloud workloads in AWS and Google Cloud Platform, which is GCP, the third major public cloud, and the AI services running on top of all of them. Here's a memory hook worth keeping. Think of certifications like a passport. AZ-500 was a passport that worked in one country, Azure. SC-500 is the same passport with extra visa stamps for Microsoft 365, AI workloads, and other clouds. The core travel rights haven't changed, but the places you can go have expanded. Here's the key thing to remember. SC-500 is an engineering exam, not an analyst exam. If your job is hunting threats and writing detections, that's still SC-200. If your job is configuring controls and building secure architecture, that's SC-500. Now let's move on to the 4 domains and their weight. Microsoft splits SC-500 into 4 domains, and the percentages tell you roughly how much of the exam each domain covers. Think of them as a pie chart on a restaurant menu, telling you where to spend your study calories. The first domain is managing identity, access, and security for AI and cloud platforms, worth 20 to 25%. This is your Microsoft Entra ID world, plus role-based access control, plus privileged identity management. Entra ID is Microsoft's Cloud Identity Directory, formerly called Azure Active Directory. The second domain is securing data, storage, databases, and networking, worth 25 to 30%. That's the single biggest slice of the exam. Storage accounts, Azure SQL, Cosmos database, network security groups, private endpoints, firewalls, and web application firewalls all live here. The third domain is securing compute, including AI workloads, worth 20 to 25%. Virtual machines, containers, Azure Kubernetes Service, App Service, and the brand new AI security tooling all sit in this domain. The fourth domain is managing security posture and recommending mitigations, worth 20 to 25%. Microsoft Defender for Cloud, Microsoft Sentinel, multi-cloud connectors, external attack surface management, and Security Copilot live here. 2 things to notice. First, the data and networking domain is the largest, so if your study time is limited, give it the most attention. Second, AI security isn't a separate domain on the surface, but it's woven through 3 of the 4. You can't avoid it. About 30% of the exam content is genuinely new, compared with AZ-500. A quick tip here. Picture these 4 domain titles taped to your monitor. Every time you do a lab, ask yourself which domain it lives in. By exam day, you'll be sorting questions into buckets without even thinking about it. Let's move on to what carried over from AZ-500. If you held AZ-500 in the last 3 years, here's the good news. Roughly 70% of the content you learned still applies. The exam still tests conditional access policies, including how to build them, how to debug them, and how to read sign-in logs to figure out why one didn't fire. It still tests privileged identity management, eligibility, and activation flows. It still tests Azure Key Vault, including access policies, role-based access control, and customer-managed keys. It still tests network security groups, application security groups, Azure Firewall, and the Web Application Firewall. It still tests Defender for Cloud, including the Secure Score, regulatory compliance, and the workload protection plans. And it still tests Microsoft Sentinel, including analytics rules, automation, and the data connectors. The vocabulary is largely identical. If you can already explain what a service tag does, you don't need to relearn it. The core pattern of configure this control to protect this resource is unchanged. Here's a way to picture the transition. Think of it like a phone operating system update. Your contacts, photos, and apps are all still there. There's a new pane on the home screen, and a couple of icons have moved, but you're not starting from scratch. Now the next concept, what's genuinely new. The remaining 30% is where things get interesting. The exam adds Microsoft Purview Data Security Posture Management for AI, a feature that scans your tenant to find where sensitive data is being read by AI tools like Copilot. Think of it as DSPM for AI, where DSPM stands for Data Security Posture Management. It tells you which prompts and which documents are creating exposure. The exam also adds Microsoft 365 Copilot Governance, meaning how to use sensitivity labels, retention policies, and conditional access to keep Copilot from oversharing. And it adds Entra Agent ID, a brand new identity type for AI agents. When you build a custom agent in Copilot Studio or anywhere else, it now gets its own identity, its own permissions, and its own audit trail. This is huge. AI agents used to inherit a user's identity, which is a bit like letting a contractor walk around your office wearing your security badge. There's also Defender for AI services, which alerts on jailbreak attempts, sensitive data exposure through prompts, and what's called wallet abuse, where someone burns through your token quota. And there's Azure AI Foundry guardrails, meaning content safety, prompt shields, and groundedness detection on deployed AI models. Azure AI Foundry is Microsoft's unified workbench for building and deploying AI applications. Rounding it out, there are AI gateway patterns in API management, which handle rate limiting, token caching, and load balancing across multiple language models. And there's Security Copilot itself, where you'll see questions on capacity units, plugin permissions, and audit. One warning worth repeating: don't dismiss the AI content as fluff. Microsoft has signaled clearly that this is a first-class citizen of the exam, and several of the AI questions are case study style. You'll be reading a long scenario about a customer rolling out Copilot and picking the right purview and Entra controls. Let's talk about why AI security is now its own layer. Here's the underlying logic. When AZ-500 was written, the threat model assumed humans and applications were the only things touching your data. Identity meant a person. An application identity, called a service principal, was a known, scoped thing. AI changed that. An AI agent built in Copilot Studio can read documents, send emails, call APIs, and make decisions, all autonomously. Until very recently, that agent operated under the calling user's identity. If you were a finance director and asked the agent to summarize the quarter, it had your level of access. Multiply that by 1,000 users and 100 custom agents, and you have a governance nightmare. Here's the analogy again, worth restating. Compare it to giving a contractor full building access. If they sign in with your badge, the security guard can't tell who actually opened the server room door at 2 a.m. With Entra Agent ID, the agent gets its own badge. The guard can see the contractor came in, what they touched, and whether they should have been there. Microsoft has gone all in on this approach, and the SC-500 reflects that bet. You're expected to know how to issue, scope, and audit AI identities. A quick tip: bookmark the Microsoft Learn listing for Microsoft Entra Agent ID and read it once a week as it updates. The product is moving fast, and the exam questions are tracking the latest features. Now let's move on to the beta period and what it means for you. SC-500 is in beta. That's Microsoft's term for an exam where the questions are still being validated. During the beta, 3 things are true and they matter to you. First, The question bank is larger than a live exam. You may see 60 to 70 questions instead of the usual 40 to 60. Plan your time accordingly. Second, your score doesn't arrive immediately. Microsoft holds beta results for roughly 8 to 10 weeks, while psychometricians analyze which questions worked and which didn't. You walk out without knowing if you passed. That's emotionally tough. Plan a week off from studying after the exam, so you don't burn out waiting. Third, the price is reduced. Microsoft typically halves the cost during the beta window as a thank you for being a guinea pig. Check the official exam listing for the current price in your local currency. Here's a deeper look. In case you're curious about the mechanics, Microsoft uses a psychometric process called item analysis during beta. Every question is judged on 3 statistics: how many candidates got it right, whether high scorers got it right more often than low scorers, and how the question correlates with the rest of the test. Questions that fail any of these tests get cut before the live exam launches. That's why your beta result takes weeks. They're not grading you, they're grading the questions. Once the analysis is done, your raw score is mapped onto the scaled 1 to 1000 range, where 700 is the pass mark. Let's talk about who the exam is aimed at. Microsoft writes a target audience statement for every certification. For SC-500, it boils down to this: a security engineer with 1 to 3 years of hands-on experience implementing controls on Azure, Microsoft 365, and at least one other cloud, plus a working understanding of AI workloads. If that sounds intimidating, take heart. The at least one other cloud line is aspirational. Plenty of candidates pass SC-500, having only ever touched AWS through a Defender for Cloud connector during their lab study. You don't need to be an AWS expert. You need to know what Defender for Cloud expects from AWS and how the connector hangs together. The 1 to 3 years experience line is also flexible. If you're a longtime Microsoft 365 administrator pivoting into security, you bring deep knowledge of identity, Purview, and Copilot that net new Azure engineers don't have. The exam tests the breadth of the role, not a particular career history. The candidates who struggle tend to fall into 3 groups. The first is the pure on-premises security engineer with no cloud experience. The exam is unforgiving on cloud-specific patterns like managed identities and private endpoints. The second is the developer who picked up Azure on the side but has never run a security operations shift. The Sentinel and incident response content feels alien. The third is the AZ-500 graduate who studies only the new material and forgets to refresh the carryover topics. The exam mixes old and new on the same screen. Pick the gap that's yours and close it deliberately. Now the next concept: cost, renewal, and the retirement cliff. The full exam price is typically around $165 or the local equivalent. Beta pricing has been roughly half that. Renewal of the credential is free and happens annually through a shorter online assessment on Microsoft Learn, the same way it has worked for AZ-500 in recent years. Here's the deadline you need to circle in your calendar. AZ-500 retires on August 31st, 2026. After that date, you cannot sit AZ-500, and any in-progress stubber material loses its purpose. If you already hold AZ-500, your credential stays valid until its next renewal date, but new candidates have to take SC-500. So if you're starting fresh today, do not waste a single hour on AZ-500 only material. Get current SC-500 resources, watch the official Microsoft Learn Pass for SC-500, and move on. If you're partway through AZ-500 study, the calculus is harder. If you can sit AZ-500 within the next month or 2, finish what you started. If you're more than 2 months out, switch to SC-500. The overlap is high enough that your existing study isn't wasted, and you won't be left holding a soon-to-be-retired credential. One warning worth flagging. Some training providers still advertise IZ-500/SC-500 combo courses. The exams are not interchangeable. IZ-500 vouchers do not work on SC-500. Read the fine print before you buy. Let's move on to what the exam format actually looks like. Microsoft has shifted away from the multiple-choice only format of the early 2010s. The SC-500 mixes several question styles, and being surprised by the format on the day costs people marks they should have earned. Here's the menu of question types to expect. Standard multiple choice gives you 4 options with 1 correct answer. You've seen these since school. They make up roughly half the exam. Read all 4 options before answering, because the last option is sometimes all of the above, and an early option is sometimes a near miss, designed to catch the candidate who reads too fast. Multiple response asks you to select 2 or select 3. Partial credit is rare, so if you get 2 right and 1 wrong, you typically score 0 for that question. Count carefully. Drag and drop ordering has you drag steps into the correct sequence. Common topics include the Conditional Access Policy Evaluation Order, the steps to onboard an IWS account to Defender for Cloud, and the life cycle of a privileged identity management role activation. Drag and drop matching has you match Microsoft products to scenarios, or features to descriptions. The bank of options usually contains 1 or 2 distractors that don't match any blank. Hot Area shows you a screenshot of the Azure portal with several dropdowns, and you pick the right value for each one. These are the most realistic to actual job tests. Case studies give you a long scenario, followed by 5 to 8 questions. A later lesson in this course covers how to read them efficiently. And the Yes/No series gives you a short scenario, followed by 3 or 4 would this solve the problem yes or no questions. You cannot go back to a previous question in the series once you've answered. That last one is the trap. The Yes/No series uses the standard you cannot navigate backward rule, which is unusual for Microsoft exams. Read the scenario carefully before answering the first question. A quick tip. The Microsoft Learn exam listing for SC-500 has an exam sandbox that lets you experience each question type without any of the real content. Spend 20 minutes in it the week before your exam, so the formats feel familiar on the day. Before we wrap up, here's how this course is organized so you have your bearings. An early module covers Stack Overview and the study plan, so you know the map before you start walking. The next stretch of modules covers Domain 1, Identity and Access. After that comes a longer stretch on Domain 2, Data, Storage, Databases, and Networking, because it's the biggest slice of the exam. Then a stretch on Domain 3, Compute and II workloads. And the course finishes with Domain 4, Posture Management, Sentinel, and Security Copilot. You can move through the course start to finish if you're beginning fresh, or jump to the module that scares you most if you're already comfortable elsewhere. Let's review what we covered in this lesson. The SC-500 is the official replacement for AZ-500, and it earns you the Cloud and AI Security Engineer Associate credential. The exam has 4 domains, with data and networking the largest slice, and AI security woven through 3 of the 4. About 70% of AZ-500 content carries over, and the other 30% is genuinely new, centered on AI security, Copilot governance, Entra Agent ID, and multi-cloud posture. The exam is in beta, which means more questions, a longer wait for results, and a discounted price. And AZ-500 retires on August 31st, 2026. So if you're starting study today, study SC-500. Now for a quick self-check. Here's the first question. What's the biggest single domain on the SC-500 exam, and roughly what percentage does it cover? Securing data, storage, databases, and networking, at 25 to 30%. It's the largest slice, so it deserves the most study time. Here's the second question. True or false? AI agents built in Copilot Studio used to run under their own dedicated identity before Entra Agent ID existed. False. They used to inherit the calling user's identity, which meant an agent could end up with a finance director's full level of access. Entra Agent ID gives every agent its own identity, its own permissions, and its own audit trail. Here's the third question. If you're starting SC-500 study today, and you're only 40% through an AZ-500 course, what should you do? Switch to SC-500 material now. AZ-500 retires on August 31st, 2026. And your partial progress carries over well, since roughly 70% of the content overlaps.